Support your Hobbit hobby.
Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL video as part of our Desolation of Smaug week. As always, you're here with James and
Jamie, and today we're going to be discussing the new good heroes and the old ones.
Yes, we are. Now you might be realise that we're wearing different clothes and we've got a different background. That's because, unfortunately, our original Good Heroes review
It got cut short. My camera was running out of battery and we didn't want to risk the battery dying on us and losing the footage that we already had, so we thought just rather than do it in two parts, cut it all out and we'll just
let's do it again. We don't mind reading this book again because it's awesome. It's awesome, guys. It's awesome. Have you all got your new
You need one.
Desolation of Smaug source books yet, guys? Okay, I hope you're all getting out there and getting these. Some great new scenarios. There's some great points game scenarios.
Filled with content. You know, there's got loads of, well, it's got one painting tutorial in, it's got some golden demon miniatures that look amazing, and yeah, it's better than the old Lord of the Rings source books.
And not something that we've talked about. And it's a good job that these things are in here, because we talked before about sort of the lack of hobby content.
Yeah, like it seems to be very much focused on this is a game that you play, rather than this is your hobby.
Now, let's get into the good heroes. So, what we'll probably do is actually release this after the evil heroes. Because technically, this is after.
This is before the evil heroes in the book, but it makes sense for us to do chronologically what we've done.
And I think this will be day 7 or day 8 of our.
It'll be day 7, I believe.
Day 7.
Yep.
We've also got some more exciting news. Guess what's happening tomorrow morning?
Real time.
Real time, yeah, not when this goes out.
When this goes out, it'll be well past the date. But
today is the 12th.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is literally DoS Day.
For the UK.
For the UK. I know there's people on the forums who have already watched it. It's like,
oh,
no, we're so jealous.
Why?
We're so jealous.
There before us?
So we'll also be putting up a bit of a movie review as well. There might be some spoilers in there, so you can watch. We'll try our best.
You've probably actually by this point already watched that review.
Yeah, because that'll be.
It's only day 3 of our Smaug week currently.
Our channel is just like a time machine.
Yeah.
Really. We don't know where anything is being released or anything. That's probably one of the good things.
We watched it 3 days ago and it was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You have to go see it.
Okie doke. So we're going to go through the good heroes, and we're going to start off with a hero which, even before this miniature was released, is a profile that you use quite a lot. This is Thranduil.
Dun, 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 dun.
King of Mirkwood.
This is the King of Mirkwood version. Now the King of Mirkwood, he is a little bit cheaper, he's 80 points, but he comes with the option to buy his armour and elf bow to make himself into the exact same old profile, which is 90 points, which is what he was.
Now there's been some discussion about some new releases of models which already existed previously.
Yeah.
So, for example, with Balin,
Yeah.
you had a situation there where
You've got Balin in the Durin's folk list and Balin from Thorin's company.
and they are completely different.
Yeah.
Chalk and cheese, just absolutely completely different.
Yeah.
You know, and they've got completely different uses.
Yeah, and also they remain separate because they have different names. Like you've got Balin the Dwarf, which is the new one, and Balin son of Fundin, which is the old profile.
Exactly, and of course then there's going to be always some discussion of whether a character like Thranduil, whether he's going to have the same situation, whether it's going to be a completely different profile.
Yeah. However, it is the exact same. Every single stat is the same as the last.
And are you really happy about that?
Yes. Well, maybe if you could have been increased, say, by 40 points or so, and we'd have seen a 3 attack, 3 wounds version for a king of a realm, would have been quite nice. But I guess you've got that in Celeborn in the old list, and you don't need 3 attacks when we talk about Tauriel.
No, and we will get there. So he comes with the option to have armour and elbow, and everything else is exactly the same as what you will see in the 3 peoples. It comes with that elven cloak and elven blade.
Yep.
Now the model itself, I think, is absolutely stunning.
Yeah. I suppose actually he's lost his staff.
Oh yeah,
Because everyone wants his staff.
Everybody wants his staff to do the bash special.
The bash special rule.
Is that right? Yeah.
To try and knock him over. Oh
No, stun.
Stun to make you
Stun.
fight one and attack one.
That's right. Yeah, everybody wants that.
Yeah.
But now he's got an elven blade.
Well, no, he had that as well.
You have that? Wow, he was a beast.
Yeah. So he's actually decreased in value by probably like a point or something.
I played him a couple of times. The last time I played against Thranduil, Aemon Knight of the Pelennor and the Son of Ale took him down.
Yeah.
That's right.
However, I'd like to see Knight of the Pelennor and the Son of Ale take out 3 fell beasts in one turn.
That's true. High five to that. That was awesome. That was awesome. I wish I was there. I wish I could have filmed that.
I wish I could have filmed that
I
too.
wish I could have filmed that. So that's Thranduil, and we're going to move on to a completely new character. This is actually a completely made-up character as well.
It's wasn't canon, was it? They've made this and added it to their own Middle-earth, as it were.
Yeah, this is part of PJ's Middle-earth, and this is Tauriel.
Yeah.
Tauriel. Now, Tauriel, she is the same points
As Legolas.
as Legolas,
Space, yeah.
and she's pretty much the same stat line, apart
Yeah.
from...
Oh, she's strength 4, she wears armour, she's got 3 attacks, and 2
better.
wounds and courage 6 as you expect the elves to have. And she's got the same might, will and fate as Legolas as well. So she is an absolute monster in combat. She's got a special rule called Blade Mistress.
And this is the key thing with Tauriel, this special rule, and there's been a lot of discussion about it as well, which we'll come on to.
Yeah. So for every model that she is... Well, I'll read you the exact wording of the rule. Tauriel receives an additional attack for each enemy model she is engaged with after the first. This bonus is determined at the start of each fight and lasts until all strikes from that fight have been resolved. So, if you charge 3 guys into base contact with Tauriel, she's going to get +2 attacks, taking her up to 5. 5 strikes.
So this is going to make her a really good anti-horde unit.
She's a very... So, like, the only way that we've sort of figured out on the forums how to effectively take her down by swarming her is to attack with multi-attack models like your Corsair Reavers or Berserkers or Iron Guard.
Sons of Ale.
Or Sons of Ale, but you wouldn't get as many around a base. But
No, it's true.
because that
3 attacks.
her 2 attacks, their 2 attacks sort of counteract the fact she's gaining more dice. So I think you'll always stay at 1 above her or 2 above her.
Yeah, like any mod. I mean, there's been a lot of discussion about whether this is a broken rule, this is something which is going to ruin the game, it's so overpowered, but like anything, there's ways of dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know, she's not particularly high defence,
No.
so you know, she's going to be getting taken down on
fives,
by most things in combat.
She's higher fight, so you might as well feint against her.
Yeah, both fire.
Yeah. Well, she's got an elven cloak, so she's
Oh,
gonna
that's
be
true, yeah, that's
pretty,
true.
pretty, like most elves. Both fire's not the way to take them down.
You know, you're going to get heroes and monsters. You know,
A troll hurling her through the troops could easily take her down.
Indeed.
Now, the discussion about her rule comes in the fact that whether spear supports
Yeah.
count as being in the combat to grant her the additional attacks. Now, my school of thought is that these spears will grant her extra attacks.
Yeah, because they're now counted as being in the combat, aren't they?
Their rule is sort of very specific. It says that you can enter combat without going in base contact. You simply have to touch a friendly base. And then there's a list of exceptions of what you can and can't do by fighting in this special way. So in the way I read it, and in my mind, I see them as in the fight, but not having to be in base contact and can't be struck, but can only make 1 strike if they've got more on their profile. And that's the sort of exception that you don't have to risk going into combat for. So I think they would gain the extra strikes.
Now, this isn't 100% accepted. There's some different opinions
No.
out there. It would be great to see what your opinion is on this rule. So get your book out, have a little bit of a look, and tell us what do you think about whether the spear contributes towards her extra attacks.
Yeah.
Are we going to see lots of Tauriel, do you think?
I think we will. She's
In the
cheap.
tournaments this year?
She's cheap. She's 3 mites. She's 3 attacks and fight 6. That's always nice to get. And obviously, she counts towards the Mirkwood Rangers special rule, which we'll come on to when we reach them.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see a lot of Tauriel this year. People trying to make her work.
Definitely.
And also, I really like the model.
The model is really good.
I like the model. And this interestingly isn't a fine cast model.
No, actually, we've got it. You want to reach
Yeah,
over?
get it. It's Legolas.
There she
Here's
is.
Tauriel. Okay, so here she is. You can see that.
She's in plastic. Very nice.
Plastic.
There is definitely a move away from the Finecast sort of thing, isn't there? There have only been 3 releases with this Desolation of Smaug that I can think of that have been in Finecast.
Well, I think a big part of that is when it was due to be 2 movies.
They were still very much Finecast.
Yeah, but if you look at the trend with...
All the fantasy releases and 40k releases, there have been very, very few, or in fact any, I think, Finecast releases.
You should ask very, very quickly. Darren, new Warhammer and Warhammer 40k releases for Heroes. They're moving away from Finecast to plastic. He's nodded his head.
He's going to Forge World, I believe.
Ah.
And they did a press release not too long ago.
Ah, so in case you didn't hear that,
Plastic instead.
Finecast is being taken over. Well, it's going to be managed by Forge World, so we can expect some amazing sculpts when they do get that right. And
Darren is a reliable source as well. This is Darren Palmer of the Northwest Gaming Centre.
And the Games
See that
Workshop
plug?
are going to be pretty much a solely plastic company where they can get away with it. So,
Absolutely fantastic.
Good
I think
time-
a lot of
good-
people
good
will be
times
happy
ahead.
about that.
yeah, I prefer the plastic models. They've got so much good like detail and quality on them.
Well, you can see this with even with the plastic box sets. If you compare, well, we didn't we? With our unboxings, we compared like Warriors of Erebor.
To the Corsair Warriors.
Yeah, and you know the plastic has come on so far. It really, really has. That I think that they can afford to make that change over.
Yeah.
So I think, we're going to see Tauriel, nice looking model. Already seen someone painting it up in the GBHL Facebook group. If you're not in that Facebook group, get on there and join the discussion. Next up, we're going to go to another profile that many of you will be familiar with.
Very familiar with. He's appeared in every one of my armies I've taken to a tournament, pretty much. Besides my pure dwarves.
broken.
He's not. He's just good.
Very good.
He's
very good at killing horses.
Horses. He's very good at tactically
Hate him.
hitting them. And in case you've not guessed who he is yet, it's Legolas.
Hmm.
Now his profile, we're not going to linger on because it is exactly the same with the same equipment and war gear and stat line.
Again, some
and
nice
special rules.
consistency.
Yeah, it's not they're not messing with the characters too much.
Yeah, nice consistency, not at same points, but a different pose. Now there has been some discussion about his pose and how he looks.
Yeah.
And I think, having looked at the model itself, which is here,
Yep.
you'll probably be able to see if I bring this in close enough. Maybe
Got it?
not. That the paint job that Games Workshop have sort of promoted him with is really poor, and it's made a lot of people worried. There's been a lot of people posting on the forums and saying, "Oh, I really don't like that sculpt. He's got a monobrow. He looks like he's having a poo," and stuff like that. People have, haven't they?
They have. Yeah.
They have.
Got a very constipated look on his face.
However, again, if you go on that Facebook group, there is a guy on there. I can't think of his name off the top of my head,
Me either.
but he's actually posted up pictures of how he's painted him.
And it
and
looks so much better.
it looks great, and it's actually a really fantastic pose. So again, I think we are going to see people picking it up as soon as they realise that it isn't the sculpt on that one which is the problem.
It was the paint job, mate.
It's the paint job. It looks like they rushed some of those paint jobs.
Yeah.
Next up,
Next up, we're going to move through the elves. We're going to go to their captains, so they're unnamed heroes.
I tell you what, why don't we save these two for when we talk about that?
Yeah, when we talk about those actual troop types as well, then we can tie them in with the captains. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So next up is a real surprise release.
Yeah.
A real surprise release. And when we did our release video and we saw the leaked pictures, we were like, wow, this is
What?
like...
Who's this guy? What's he doing here?
It just completely took everybody by surprise. You know, you see a lot of sort of speculative lists, don't you? And I
Yeah.
can't remember seeing that.
No, I think he's in here due to the inclusion in the film, and it's something that I've seen that I can't wait to see, where Gandalf will find Thrain the Broken.
Thrain the Broken.
So he's very cheap. If he's going to kill 2 Moria goblins with shield, he's going to earn his points back.
I know what 2 Moria Goblins with Shield is now.
Yeah, you do.
I do. I've worked it out.
He's a dwarf. He's got a regular dwarf warrior fight value. He's got the strength of a hobbit, defense of a hero with no armor on, 1 attack, 2 wounds, and courage 3, with no might, no will, or fate. And the reason he's
Very cheap.
very cheap.
Independent hero.
Independent hero, so he's going to set up. He can essentially be one of your cheap warband drops to make your opponent put down one of theirs. He's got a special rule called Shattered Spirit, and basically the torment that he endured at Azog's hands and Azog's torturers have left him broken. At the start of priority phase, you must take a courage test for him. If he passes, he acts normally. If he passes on a double, so a double 4, double 5, double 6, he gains +2 fight value, +2 strength, and +2 attacks, essentially taking him back to his old profile with just Thrain, and he sort of remembers who he was and how he's meant to act as a dwarf should.
Which is quite cool.
Which is cool. And then if you roll double 1, so the worst possible, so a 1 in 36 chance of this happening, he becomes an evil model that cannot be struck or shot. Or is it this? Can't be target of any magical.
Can't make strikes against him.
Yep. You can't blast him with Sorcerer's Blast. I think you might be able to inadvertently blast things into him, because it says you cannot target Thrain. But if you were to blast an evil model through him, then
Basically, it becomes a bit of a pain.
yes, he's going to just like maybe charge your banner bearer.
Now, the model itself is really quite interesting.
Yeah.
Really is interesting, and we commented on this when we saw some of the leaked pictures.
Yeah.
It makes me really look forward to seeing how he looks in the movie, and that scene really makes me look forward to that. So I hope you've got your books open and you're having a little look at it now, or maybe we'll put the link to Games Workshop pages, the Hobbit bit in here, so you can click on. You can be looking at them while we're talking about them.
Yep.
Are we going to see him brought along a lot?
I don't know, because everyone, when they first heard of Warbands, was always like, oh, we'll get Lobelia and Fatty, because they're both independent characters who are very cheap, and we can use them as cheap drops. I don't think we're going to see him as much as people say we're going to see him, because even now, sort of like in the tournament scene, you very rarely see Lobelia and Fatty Bolga go down, despite them being tactically advantageous to good. So I think we might see him in a couple of themed armies, maybe like some Erebor Dwarves with him there as well. But
maybe because he's part of that list, isn't he? He's part of the Army of Thrall list. Army of Thrall list. Now, one thing which has come up when reading his special rule is, as Jamie explained, if you roll a double 2, double 3, double 4, double 5, double 6, he gets all those benefits, and on a double 1, he becomes controlled by the evil player. It doesn't actually tell you what happens
if you fail it, say like on a 1 or a 2, and he doesn't pass his courage. There's no sort of indication as to what happens,
which is confusing.
He might just stand there, or if it's a courage test, does he run away? Does he count as being broken from the, like as if your army was broken? Is he broken? Would he run away? We just don't know. So that's another question that's going to get fired off on the FAQ
It's really
list.
interesting, because if it was a case of, because it's the fact that they specifically say it's a courage test, because otherwise you could say roll 2 dice, roll 2d6 on doubles, bar double 1, this happens, on a double 1 this happens, but because it says courage test,
we're thinking maybe does he run away, or does he go off the field?
because but even on a double 2,
He's going to fail. Yeah, it's any time he passes on a double.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
So he'd have to get double 4, double 5, or double 6 to pass.
So let us know again. What do you think? It's not clear, but which way do you think that this is going to go?
Yeah.
Next up on our good heroes
Pardon me.
is one that I am looking forward to.
Yeah, so you've actually started painting this guy, haven't you?
I have. Gorgeous.
Do you want to say who he is?
Thank you, Jamie.
I'll let you do this guy.
This is Bjorn. We've got Bjorn.
In man form.
Yeah, in man form. We're going to start off with this. Okay. So he is 40 goblins with shield.
Yep.
Yes, he's 40 goblins with shield, so he's very expensive.
Yeah.
It's basically 10 points more than Treebeard.
Yeah.
Now he's got. But first of all, he looks great, doesn't he?
He does, yes.
He looks great.
He towers above your regular warriors as well. He's a big model for.
Yeah, we've done an unboxing for him, and one of the first things that we said was, "Wow, he's massive."
I think his axe is about the general size of a
Most
dwarf.
models.
Yeah,
He's bigger
bigger than a dwarf.
Bigger than a dwarf. He's massive, absolutely massive. So he is a very strong character. He's basically got the stat line of Dwalin.
Very similar to Dwalin. There's a few more increases, such as his wounds and courage are increased. Oh no, yeah, just his wounds have increased, but he's got all the 3s where you want them, and strength 5, defense 5, and the fight value of an elven captain.
Now, the key thing with this guy is he's got some very cool special rules.
Yep.
You've got the option to take a bow, which we've discussed before.
Yeah.
Really, you want to be getting this guy into combat.
Yeah, so you don't really want to be wasting it on.
Now, his special rules, he's burly, which means he's not getting that -1 penalty in the dual roll.
Yep.
For wielding two-handed.
He's armed with a 2-handed axe.
He's fearless.
Yep. So he never has to take a courage test ever.
He's resistant to magic.
So if you're out of will with him, you always get 1 dice to try and resist a spell.
And he's a woodland creature.
So he's going to get to move through woods for free, and he will benefit from Haven Woods if you roll for the Mirkwood trees.
Make sure you watch that video. Make sure you watched that video. The really, really exciting special rule is Skin Changer. You want to talk us through Skin Changer?
Skin Changer. So at the start of your movement, you roll a d6 if you want to. On a 4+, you become your bear form or your human form, and you can change with this as you want to, as long as you can roll that 4 up. Once you've changed, you replace the model with the other model, essentially.
Yeah.
And then you can move as normal. And the bear is...
He's a beast.
the bear's a bear.
Literally, he's a bear.
He's a monster.
He's an absolute crazy tank.
Yeah.
He's an absolute crazy tank. So, if you look at the bear, if he does turn into a bear, one of the big discussions is whether it's...
Is it even worth?
Is it even worth sort of trying to keep him as a guy? There are a couple of situations.
Yeah,
where maybe
very
it's-
rarely. I think you'd rather have him as a bear.
You want to have him as a bear, and it's because he's basically got the same stat line as Treebeard.
Yep.
But extra movement.
Yeah.
He's a bit quicker than him. So again, he's got special rules: burly, fearless, resistant magic, terror.
You know, he's a terror causer now.
Which is cool, and he's a woodland creature.
Yeah.
The key thing with this guy are these 2 special rules when he turns into a bear. He has got his own special brutal power attack for being a monster, and this is called Crushing Strength.
Yeah. So with Crushing Strength, once you win the fight, you can elect to use Crushing Strength. Now, what this does is you make a single Strength 10 hit against your opponent, and if it wounds after fate, if they've got it to use it, you make another Strength 10 hit, and if it wounds, you make another, and another, and another, until the model's dead or you fail to wound. So you can potentially go through those big monsters relatively quickly.
Yeah, I think this is where you're going to see this used. This is kind of like an anti-monster.
Yeah.
An anti-monster brutal power attack, which is cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's really cool, it's unique. I think we're going to see it. I mean, he is expensive, but I think we are going to see it.
I think we'll see him every so often. I mean, he can lead warriors from the Radagast Alliance.
Yep, Radagast Alliance, so he can bring eagles with him.
Yeah.
He can bring eagles.
I think he's most likely going to be just an add-on to an army.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably what I would do with him.
Yep.
So very much a sort of a monster killer. You might see him be used up against heroes as well, because if he's getting them to burn through their fate, you'll be using that. And then of course he's got his usual brutal power attacks like any monster as well. Now there are some disadvantages.
Yep, he is. Whilst he's in a bear form, he becomes Berserk, and he just has to charge a model each turn if possible. And I think does he have to finish his turn closer to an enemy?
It's beyond a bear must always charge a model if he's able to.
Okay.
Nothing about
getting closer. Okay, so he can stay still. But it means that if the enemy, say, has a cavalry model, they could potentially kite him around.
Yeah.
So it's like, say if Bayonne stood here and they run their cavalry model here.
Which is a big disadvantage.
Yep, unless their line's like 9 inches away, they got to go after that model.
I kind of like that idea, because that's probably what people will try and do against him.
Yeah.
So at that point, you'll be trying to roll to make him back
into a man.
Back into a man,
he
so that you
starts.
can take control again and go and get back into business.
Things like bat swarms would be great for doing this, where they can fly over terrain, and he's like, "Oh, I've got to go charge him."
Yeah, that'd be nasty. But also, other friendly models can't use his stand fast or benefit from his heroic actions, and vice versa. He can't. So there are some negatives there.
Yep.
However, I think you're going to see people who are trying to turn him into a bear quite quickly.
Oh yeah, because you get the big defense increase, and you're less likely to be taken down by bows.
Yeah, that's one of the disadvantages of
The man profile.
the man profile. He's going to be quite susceptible to bow fire, isn't he? There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say quite. He's got 3 wounds, 3 fate, and 3 might, so he won't go down
Yeah,
quickly.
he won't go down quickly, but
You don't want to burn those vital statistics or vital
It's all right.
characteristics.
Well, this will probably come out after the appropriate bat rep is released, so I can say. But like Treebeard, all of Treebeard's wounds that I lost and fate was burnt off by bowfire when I played against Pete.
Yeah.
So it can happen,
Yeah.
even when you've got higher defence and stuff. So something to look out for. Now, in terms of the models, as Jamie has said, I've already started painting up the man form, because the bear form's not been released yet, and I'm loving it. He's great. There was a little bit of a problem. He's supposed to have like a wound on the back of his right shoulder, so the one which is holding close to the axe head. And I didn't notice this, and I don't know whether it's just where I've been cutting and I've been careless, but I don't think so, because I couldn't find the bit which had kind of come away. Yeah. But where his wound was supposed to be, there was a massive
Had almost
gap.
like an air bubble, but that bit popped almost and left a pock mark in him.
Maybe basically where, imagine it should be like almost like a ball and socket kind of part. On the back, it didn't come up to meet where the arm finished.
Yes, yeah.
So you ended up with this sort of crevice. So I did have to fill that, which was a little bit of a shame. But apart from that, the model was absolutely beautiful. It's really easy to paint, and should see him in some videos soon with some highlights on. But you'll definitely see him.
It's the bear form.
When we get the bear form. And that's not been released yet.
No, the bear form's not been released, so I believe you can use any model you want. And I think actually UK Freddy Bear has got some great bear poses, so check out their website for...
It does. UK Freddy Bear is now part of Shadow and Flame, and they sponsor this, our channel.
Our channel, yes, yeah.
Our channel.
So, I mean, when Bear on the Bear is officially released, you'll have to use that model in tournaments. But in the meantime, might just check that out, because he's got some great poses on there.
And you might not like the pose of the Games Workshop, but I know a lot of people didn't like in the leaked images.
Yeah.
Some of the images of Bjorn the Bear. I have to say, having seen him in this,
in some of his different
angles, yeah. So you can see why in a blurry image some people might have thought that he looked a particular way in that. But then if we look in that journey scenario,
yeah. One more flick.
One more flick. Here we go. Yeah, he looks cool.
Yeah, when he's side on, you see his head as he's meant to be, like, ripping.
Yeah, kind of like if you look at him sort of square on with his legs because he's turning. Yeah, he looks awesome. I can't wait for this model. I reckon it's going to be about 20, 25 quid.
25 probably most likely. Yeah.
Fine cast. Yeah.
Maybe not even fine cast. If they've waited this long to do it, he might come out as a plastic. Maybe you never know.
Maybe.
He's got some good detail on him.
He does. He does. Absolutely gorgeous. Recommend that you go out and get this model. Let us know what you think about that. Next up, and this is one of my favourite models from the releases as well.
Yes, he looks incredible.
Should we say it at the same time?
No.
Bard the Bowman.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't so bad, Jake.
It wasn't. Bard is... Let me work this out. Come on, brain. Let's work together in this cold morning. 24. If he kills 24 more goblins with shield, he'll make his points back.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Stat line wise, even. What the hell? It's too early. He's the fight of an elf, strength of a hero, defense of a hero without armor, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, 3 might, 2 will, 2 fate. So a nice strong stat line for him.
Nice strong stat line. Some of the really cool things are in his special rules and his war gear.
Yeah.
This guy carries the great bow. What's the great bow, Jamie?
Now, the great bow is a bow with a range 24 inches, but it's strength 4. So it's a move and shoot crossbow essentially, which is going to be very nice.
There's no other model with this.
Nope, he is the only one. He has a 3+ shoot value as well, so you can reliably move and shoot with him. And his special rule, rapid fire, really benefits this. Now, with rapid fire, if you roll to hit and you hit, you can make another shot within 3 inches of the original target. It could even be the same target again. And if you hit, you can make one more. You can make up to 3 shots doing this.
Which is like a kind of watered down version of Legolas's 3 shots, yeah. But it's very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Now, the really interesting special rule is the Black Arrow.
Yeah.
Now, Black Arrow, read the books if you don't know what the Black Arrow is.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very important. Mind you, or watch the movie.
Yeah.
Because it must feature in some... Will it be in the next movie?
It'll either be in this movie or the next movie. It depends how you read the Desolation of Smaug.
Now, once per game, Bard the Bowman can fire his lucky Black Arrow. He has to declare that he's doing so, and when you shoot this, he re-rolls failed to hit rolls and any failed in the way tests.
Yeah, so really, you don't want to have moved because you don't want to risk, losing that 4+. Ideally, you'd also have a bit of might spare to boost, your rolls of a 2 to a 3.
Because if you hit, that model automatically suffers 1 wound.
Yeah.
Automatically. So what's this going to be great at getting rid of?
Obviously, popping a last wound on a hero who's trying to run away, maybe hide. I was thinking banner bearers, be good for taking out them. Ring wraiths, if they're low on, might and fate, or just have no might left.
So if you've got a fate, do you still get to use your fate?
You do get to use your fate, yes.
Because it automatically suffers 1 wound.
I would assume you still get your fate against any wounds.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just that you don't need to roll to wound them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the model itself is...
He's stunning. He looks brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether he's my favourite or Bjorn's my favourite. I really like him. I'll be getting him.
Yeah,
I'll be getting him regardless.
He looks like a sort of swashbuckler almost, doesn't he?
He looks very cool. He looks really good. It's a great pose. He's well painted as well.
Yeah.
If you have a look at that. And again, it makes me look forward to seeing him in the movie.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
looks great in the trailers as
Yeah.
well. You know, it's a character I'm really looking forward to in the movies.
Then next up, we've got the Captain of Dale, which you should already know about, so we'll leave him alone. But we've got a new named hero for Dale. This is Girion, the Lord of Dale.
So this is like going back in time.
Back in time. So if you don't know what Girion was responsible for, he took a chunk of the scale armour off Smaug, which is why he's only got unfortunately one fate because Smaug killed him way in the way back when. But it was his role with taking that chunk of Smaug's armour which makes him such an important character, and which is why Games Workshop have probably put him into the books.
Yeah, there's no picture of him here, so not a model
That we've got yet.
unfortunately. But he's reasonably cheap, isn't he? He's the same points as Erkenbrand without a horse.
Yep.
I'm getting quite good at doing
get
these
those
references
references,
there. I'm improving. I'm getting there.
We're getting past.
Notice how I use a Rohan
Yeah.
reference. I'll be there like, okay, yeah, he is this many Sons of Ale. And his stat line, what would you liken that stat line to? It looks a little bit like Grimbold. But with one higher fight.
Yeah, so he's got the elf fight value, strength of a hero, defense of a hero in armour, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, and courage 5, with 2 might, 2 will, and 1 fate.
Yeah, which isn't like Grimbold at all, really. So a reasonable hero for that points cost.
Yes, yeah.
Gets to take a bow for 5 points, comes
Which
with an armour and sword.
Makes sense to take considering his special rule.
And he's got a special rule, and this is called Dead Eye Shot. What does that do?
Yeah. Deadeye Shot, when targeting an enemy model with a special fly rule, Girion may re-roll the dice to hit, to wound. So, if you're shooting against a fell beast, or a bat swarm, or a dragon, maybe?
Yeah, so quite situational.
Yeah. Who else could fight?
But fluffy.
Gulliver, but very fluffy. And convenient, because for especially ring wraiths on fell beasts, the model counts as having the fly rule.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hit the ring wraith when you randomise, you'll still get to try to pop him.
Yeah, which is very, very cool. Next up, we've got our British institution.
Yes, Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry, the Master of Laketown.
Yeah.
Master of Laketown. This guy has the same number of points as a King's Huntsman.
Yep. And has a stat line probably to match as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
A bit more might, will, and fate. He's got 2/2/2. He's a profile with all the 2s there, and the stat line of a captain, defense.
Now, he counts as being unarmed.
So he's going to get -1 to hit, -1 to win the fight, and then to wound in combat.
But it's his special rules which are the interesting part of this character, as well as the sculpt. The sculpt is interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
quite flamboyant. And,
Very flamboyant, yeah.
yeah, really interesting. Again, looking forward to seeing Master of Laketown in a movie.
Definitely. Stephen Fry, I think, is going to play him brilliantly.
He's a great actor, isn't he?
He is.
Very, very good. So what are his special rules?
So his special rules are money bags. Now, if the Master of Laketown chooses to expend a single point of might, he may increase the fight value of all the Laketown Guard and Laketown Guard captains within 6 inches of him up by 1 fight value. So that's going to take them to fight 4 and fight 5, I believe, respectively. Yeah,
For a point of might.
for a point of might,
So
which is
a
quite
support
decent.
character, yeah. He's got 2 might there, hasn't he? So you've got a
So
couple of
he can do
chances in the
those,
game to
yeah.
do that, yeah. And his next one, he's also got Dragon Sickness. When
Yes.
presented with a vast sum of gold, the Master of Laketown may well turn tail and flee.
This is actually a bit of a negative special rule for him.
Yeah.
So, at the start of the game, your enemy may select a single hero to be the bearer of a large sum of money. So let's say you have a troll chieftain. He could be a very rich troll chieftain.
Yeah.
And if that troll chieftain then gets into contact, or that model holding the money gets into contact with the Master of Laketown, the Master of Laketown has to take a courage test or flee from the game.
Yeah, and he's not particularly high courage either.
No, he's the courage of a regular man.
So again, another kind of fluffy
Yes, yeah.
rule. It is a bit of a negative. I don't think you'll be putting your Mordor troll chieftains to go and give him money.
No, probably not.
You know, probably a cheap.
A cheap. Well, I don't know,
Cheap
because troll chieftains are most likely to get there.
I suppose so.
Yeah. It's going to be a combat.
Is it
hero,
going to be a priority trying to get? Well, it would be if he's your force leader, but
Yeah, but I doubt he
I
will.
doubt he will be.
But it's a very thematic and sort of fluffy special rule.
Yeah, and a very fluffy character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the model of him in the flesh.
Yeah.
Should be quite cool. Next up, and this one should be a big topic of the. It's already a big topic of
Very big
discussion.
Yes, I've had discussions on Facebook about the best ways to utilise this character and the best way to make good.
And it
use
might
of his
surprise
special
some of you, but we are talking about Alfred the Counsellor.
Mm-hmm.
Alfred the Counsellor. Now he's quite cheap, isn't he?
Very cheap. 4 goblins with shield equals his points.
Mm-hmm. And not strong stat line.
His stat line is that of a. Let's have a look.
What's the threes?
A Woza's warrior.
What's the threes and ones?
A Woza's warrior. Yeah. He's got no might of his own. He's got 3 will and 1 fate point, so he can be taken down very easily by bowfire.
Yep. And again, he counts as being unarmed.
Yep. So he's going to get -1 if he does get in fight.
The key thing here is his special rule.
Yeah. Now this is going to be like the only character, bar probably Tom Bombadil and Goldberry, who can make might regenerate. This is very nice. Now, Alfred can expend a point of will to, is it 6 inch range? Yeah. If there's a friendly hero within 6 inches of Alfred, he can expend a point of will, and you roll a dice. On a 1, that hero that's chosen loses D3 points of might, but Alfred gains 1 point. On a 2 to 5, the hero that was selected gains a single point of might, which can be used to take it above their starting value. And if you roll a 6, that hero is going to get D3 points of might, so potentially 3 points of might extra.
Which on its own is fine.
It's fine. It's a bit annoying, but he's only got 3 points of will.
He's only got 3 points of will. The issue comes when you have characters who can
Replenish will.
replenish will. So your bombers.
You're looking at Bomber, who's I think 40 points. So for 60 points,
45 points.
45 points. So for 65 points to get potentially regenerating might for your force is very sort of. I know a lot of people are thinking of taking it just because 65 points isn't too big an impact on a force, but might each turn for free is. Gandalf.
Yep, because he can just use his staff.
He can just use his staff. He's going to get his 1 free point of will each turn, and he can. I think it's a 2+ maybe to strengthen will.
It's 4+, isn't
Is
it?
it 4+? I don't know.
4+.
I've never used it. Also, yeah, it'd be 4+ because the High Elf Stormcallers can also do it on a 4+.
And Bomber is also it's a 4+ to make
With him, and he's the cheapest option.
It's
And
the
he can
cheapest
do it
option.
each turn, so you might as well take Bomber.
So the issue with this loophole is that what you might end up with is you can change the mechanic of a game
Yeah.
by because you'll end up with people basically bunkering up.
Yeah.
Or you can end up with people bunkering up
Let's
and
say-
just trying to get a hero really mighty.
So let's say you took a Grey Company force who aren't going to move that much, or a full Ranger force who aren't going to move that much because they're going to use their shooting. Each turn on the roll of a 4+, someone's getting might.
So 50% of the time.
Yeah. So a nice change to his rule, or when it was written, would have been any Laketown hero.
Yeah.
So that you can still take, say, Master of Laketown or a captain, and
Or
just
well, no, because if you say that, he can still have his will replenished. So he can still
replenished.
beast up.
so he can still beast up heroes, but the heroes that he's beasting up aren't going to be as sort of
Yeah, he's not going to be like beasting up Boromir from
Boromir
6,
from 6 to maybe like
12.
40 might or something,
which could happen.
which could happen.
Which do you think that there'll be a change to this, or do you think that they'll leave it for a while?
I think they'll
to
leave
encourage
it.
people to buy him.
I think they'll leave it. I think it's up to us as players not to abuse this rule. We went through a phase in the old Lord of the Rings rule where Gambling's Banner counted as benefiting Outriders, but they got a 3 point of might each turn, and we didn't abuse it. We've not abused Tom and Goldberry. Sorry, we've not abused Fatty and Lobelia. So I actually don't think we'll see it. Besides, in the players who would just win at all costs.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll be using him because
Which players do you think might do that from the GBHL?
Charles.
It's totally broken.
Yeah, I think Charles might. I think James Braun was talking to me about possibly doing it, though I don't think he'll have the nads to do it. I think he'd be.
Sounds like a challenge.
I'll take a challenge. He would.
The thing is, I think all players like to see how things work,
Yeah.
and want to see how things work first. But I think ultimately people always return to the spirit of the game.
Yeah.
So it might be something that happens in a few tournaments,
Yeah,
but then I don't think it's something that happens after. 'Cause it doesn't seem like something that would be particularly fun to
play against or play with.
or
Unless
to
you
play
Charles.
with. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I think he can be
Maybe you could say that he can't have his will replenished, or he can do
Yeah,
this
yeah.
a maximum of 3 times. Maybe that
Yeah.
could be something which could be added in. But whether it will happen or not, who knows?
I doubt we'll see that.
What do you think? What do you think? What do you think about the model?
The model's actually quite interesting. He's very sort of straight backed, and I'm your advisor, sir, and I think you should do this.
Yeah,
Um,
interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. And
Looking forward to
see the role he plays in the film, and see what advice he gives out, which can be so dubious.
Now, next up, we're going to go into the good warriors. We've talked all about the good heroes. This has been a 40-minute long video, so I think what we'll do...
pause it here, because I need to go to the toilet.
Well, what we can do is we can do a new video.
Yes, yeah.
So what we're probably going to do is we're going to talk about the good warriors in a separate video, so we'll make that the next one in this series.
And we'll also discuss their captains of that name as well.
The appropriate captains. So, again, this has been James and Jamie from the GBHL YouTube channel. Support your Hobbit hobby, and happy strategy battle gaming.